Hello, hello, what is going on, everybody? This is Phoenix61, your host for this Skull and Bones video. So, if you've kind of approached the end game lately, you might be looking at some of these, the supply networks to get the fancy materials, right, for your distillery and your laboratory, right? So, these aren't the most practical missions to do, but they are the more difficult ones, these Fort Plunder ones. So these are, probably the hardest locations or, forts to fight against, right? So, when they pick when you pick these attacks at the supply networks, these rogue hunts are good too for the unique materials you get out of that. But we are going to do some plundering today, right? So, step one is always to check your cargo and get rid of anything you don't want to lose, right? And then we're gonna go and find. So this is, we're gonna fast travel to the ruined lighthouse so that we can get to this particular fort without doing a lot of driving, right? So, and then it is off to set sail to find it, right? And so I have the with these you're gonna want the medium, the larger size ships, right? They're called medium, so. Hint, hint, there's probably going to be large ships someday in the game, right? But for now, these medium-sized ships, and honestly, I feel like if you do, you can kind of do whatever build is going to work for you, right? And I'll go through my setup at the end of the video, and I even think that there's some improvements that I could be making too. And we're going to do a meal that I think is a little bit more, defensive or PvE, fighting kind of thing, right? So I kind of have my picks for that are easy to find. I get that whatever that was, I get that from stuff all the time, right? From looting or plundering or whatever. I feel like those are all over the place. And then the other one in there too, I use that one more for speed because it has better stamina regeneration or something like that. So in all classic fashion, the location you need to get to is directly against the wind. So we're on the struggle bus here, but yeah, so this is the DPS variant of the I forget, it's the Pyromania or whatever. So it is a little bit more of an end game-ish ship because you do have to do some progression at the distillery or the helm, whatever you want to call it here, before you can buy the blueprint for this one. But yep. And then I'm using the fire bombards pretty much all the way around the ship, except for the front, right? So, and we'll brace because we know we're going to take a hit here. And that mitigated almost all of our damage. So we pretty much took no damage there just because we were bracing. This one is tough. These arrows that come out of here are brutal if you get hit by those. And then, yeah, pretty much anything coming from the base can be pretty rough. And so... And the other thing too, you don't have to wait for the plundering to tell you to destroy towers or walls or anything. You can just have at it, and then if it's needed later, it's just either going to give you, I'm not sure how it works, but it's either going to give you a different one or it's just going to automatically check that off your box, right? So you don't need to worry about it. But of course, here to get to the next phase, it's telling us we need to kill these 3 ships that are in the zone. So we'll gradually work through them. And as you can see, a lot of times I'm circling, right, so that I can get, I don't have to wait for reloads too often because I'm switching it up or I'm spinning around so that, we get one side of our cannons to fire, and then we're turning so that the other side, that the rear or the other side is able to fire right after, right? So you're almost always shooting, right? And then, yeah, on the front, we've got, I've got, fire long guns, right? So, my snipers, basically. And this is literally an all-out fire build, which is basically, just sort of compounding how the ship is, right? So, a lot of the perks for this ship are, fire damage and fire related. So, like I said, we'll go and take a peek at those when we're done. But yeah, so as you can see, it's just, these fire bombards work pretty good, but there are better things for going after structures. And then I'm using thermites, the rockets, which work really, really great. So we'll show that weapon off as well. And all of these weapons all have their like variants, right? So they start at level 1, and there's level 2s, which are fairly easy to get, and then there's the level 3s, which require a little bit more, playtime and activity chasing to to get those. But I think for the long guns on the front, I think I still have the level 2, so there's definitely some improvements you could do there. And I think you could even use some specialty long guns too that might be a little bit better for like weak point, damage or whatever. But I wanted the fire just because of how, I wanted the fire long guns just because of how this ship is built, right? So the perks of the ship, we're kind of capitalizing on them in everything that we do, right? So if you don't like the fire, aspect, or these fire bombards, they work so good. But we can see like we're lighting ships on fire that we haven't even hit, right? So part of the perk here is if you set one ship ablaze, anybody near it is also going to get set on fire too, and that makes a huge difference when trying to take down multiple enemies especially when you're by yourself, right? So yeah, these thermites, something needs to be done with the aiming for these rockets, because it is tough. Like the other auxiliary weapons, I feel like aim like a little bit better, but I feel like especially when attacking buildings, it doesn't let me look up high enough, and then you can't hardly see the reticle where it's actually going to land, right? It needs to be, instead of like a two-dimensional on the ground circle where it's going to land, it needs to be like a sphere that's showing like the hit zone, right? And so yeah, like it's just so like I just from experience of kind of knowing where to aim, I can kind of get it to work. But yeah, I really want the satisfaction of seeing how much damage I'm doing and seeing those red numbers come up for damage, right? So, but as you can see, so what my strategy here is to stay on one side of the fort for most of the fight. So this way we can focus our fire on the defenses of the fort that are kind of the most threatening to us on this side, and then we don't have to worry too much about the other side. I think some of those towers can shoot over and still hit you, but the really brutal things are like those arrows or ballistas that are in those walls. Those can be rough, right? So so I took those out first. That was the first thing I went for, and then of course we're dealing with ships as they show up, and then you can see we're gonna have to circle around. It looks like it wants us to, so we'll get rid of this guy, and then it looks like it wants us to take out a wall section right next to progress through this phase. So we'll deal with the ship, and then we're gonna have to kind of put ourselves at a little bit of mercy here. But like we've almost got this tower or whatever section of the fort is over here. We've almost got this one done. So it would be kind of worth it to try and just finish this thing off, right? We'll use rockets. Yeah, all you get is this tiny little dotted line that I can't hardly see any of it because I'm trying to aim high, right? But like that works. Those thermites work really good. I think we've got the thermite 3 for our auxiliary weapon, and they're like rockets. Like I just think those are more fun to shoot. So like even if like some of the other things are like more practical, sometimes I'm like, I like this weapon because it's cooler, right? Even though it's not as good, like sometimes I fall into that trap, right? So yeah, these I'm gonna keep moving, but these are the ones that have ruined me a few times. Is these arrows coming out of the walls over here? But that is not what it's telling us we need to hit. We are looking for sort of a damaged, busted wall section. There it is, coming right around the corner here. But yeah, so even with these fire bombards and this ship, if you set those walls ablaze, the nearby walls also get set ablaze. So you can see that tower to the left of where I'm aiming is also on fire right now and taking, status effect damage. And I didn't even shoot it that time, right? So yeah, you can see. So we do need to finish off this wall. And yep, that's gonna finish off our section. And then yeah, I'm trying to shoot rockets. I'm just aiming. I'm just guessing where my reticles probably is, and I can't see. So somebody fix that, please. Help a brother out. I'm trying to use the weapon that I think is cooler. And we'll pick on this wall a little bit more here since it's not shooting right now. And then, yep, shooting rockets where I can't see. Finish that off. But yeah, like they work really good. I think their special perk for those thermites is they do a little bit more damage to structures, right? So that's what's helping us out there. The other thing too with this ship is if you've got if ships or structures are on fire, they take even more damage when you hit them. So we've built into that too with like our furniture selections and stuff too. So we will show that off at the end of the video as well, right? We've riled up the fort, guys. Yeah, with these, also these the bombards in general, like I feel like when a ship is close, you really kind of got to aim down just because of how they come out of your ship and how much they arch, right? But as you can see, I'm back in my comfort area for this battle, which is here. I can't even say that that's the best, but like this is the best spot to do this fight if you're flying solo here. But it's what worked for me this go around, right? So, but yeah, I'm just gonna try and keep shooting these structures whenever I can. I think something like consecutive critical hits, like some sort of perk there, would be like huge for the thermites rocket launcher, right? But aiming needs to be a little bit more, I don't like. I just need to see more. I just need to be able to view. Like I'm figuring out aiming. I just need to be able to see what I'm trying to shoot at, right? Like when I'm shooting, right? So unless I'm doing something wrong, somebody tell me. Like if I'm like pushing, like if there's a different setting or button somewhere. But yeah, I don't mess around too much with the crew attacks or trying to board, just because I don't like the timing that it takes to like execute those. I think if you've built into the, if you've got some sort of perks where, oh man, he almost sticks out there. If you've got some sort of perks where, like, crew attacks are stronger or something like that, then, like, maybe it's worth it. But for this build that I've set up is just pure fire, right, and fire bombards in particular, I kind of work the best with it, at least in my opinion, right? That's what's working for me. Alright, we need to get rid of one more ship, it's telling us. Yeah, so like my guess is, it says 0 for towers. It's quite possible that it was gonna make us destroy a tower here, but we had already destroyed several, right? So yeah, and that completes our that finished it off for us. So we got some rare materials out of that, as well as some pretty good chunks of raw materials for our distillery and laboratory, right? So that was kind of the whole purpose of completing this plunder, right? And that is, I don't know if that's the toughest fort. We'll do some investigating on my end, right? But that's been a tough one to complete solo, right? So, and even when you pick those missions up, these contracts for these, the supply network, right? It even tells you that you should probably bring a friend, right? So I'm going to just talk ships a little bit really quick here. Yeah, like I said, like this one that we're using is a little bit more of an end game one too, but so yeah, I'm using the Pyromaniac, right? And so you need to have progressed quite a bit with the distillery, and you need to get quite a few, I think it's like 5,000 pieces of 8s to buy the blueprint for this from the bartender over there by the distillery, right? But these these fire perks on here deals 5,000 burning damage when you apply the ablaze effect to enemy ship. Ablaze will be applied to enemies in a radius of 150 meters. Increase damage to ships with the ablaze effect by 50%, right? So pretty much anybody on fire is, they're already on fire, and then they're going to take even more damage, right? So hull health and speed, like there's some sacrifices there. You do get 5 furniture slots, right? And then this is the hull breaker, the Brigantine. I'm sure I'm saying those things wrong. This does say DPS, but this is really your speed ship, right? Like, so you'll see tons of people using this ship. I use this ship for almost every other type of mission that's not a combat related mission, right? Just because you want the speed. And then you do get 5 furniture slots with that one too. Snow is also a popular choice I'm seeing, because this is a tank build, right? So you're going to have more health, you're going to have more, bracing, defending is going to go way better with this ship. So basically, it's it's survivability, right? So and then you still get the weapon ports all the way around and the auxiliaries, right? You only get 4 furniture slots, so that's a little bit of a bummer there. But I think that would probably be a good choice. The other choice, if you wanna, if you can't do the Pyromaniac, you want a similar build to what I have, would be this Bombardier. So this is a very similar ship, except it's explosive based. So explosive hits have a chance of triggering an explosion, which then deals 1,000 damage within, the radius. So you'll damage other ships nearby with explosions, right? So you could still use the fire bombards with this build. This is what I was doing before as my fighting ship, my DPS ship, because the fire bombards also do explosive damage, right? So they do explosive and fire, right? So you could do the exact same build that I'm running here, just with that ship in its place, right? So if you don't have the Pyromaniac unlocked and you want to do a similar build, I think you could get the job done pretty well as well, right? So Fire Long Gun 2, I need to upgrade those to 3s, right? But I think in the front you could pick some of Skurlock's long guns. Like some of these have I want to say like better critical hit damage or something like that. 7,000 damage after torn sails. Stuff like that, right? So those might be a little bit better as far as DPS, but I'm sticking with the fire ones because they're gonna keep triggering. Like they're gonna help with the setting people ablaze, right? So I'm sticking with them. I probably need to get the 3s, right? Like I just keep putting it off. I keep getting distracted by doing other things, right? And then fire bombards 3, literally the rest of the ship, right? So both sides and the stern, right? 20% damage as explosive damage. So if you don't have the Pyromaniac ship, you could do the explosive centric ship and have a lot of the same effects, right? Weak point damage, 150%, like that's pretty good. And then like I once I got used to fire in these things, I'm probably, they're my go-to at the moment. At least I definitely am gonna want to switch it up and just have different different kinds of fun, right? Thermites 3. So these are increased damage to structures by 50%, right? And they have some burning aspects as well, right? So that's it's all fire, and you're gonna see even more here what we're getting at. Armor, honestly, I haven't played around with trying to pick and choose the best armor yet, right? So for the most part, I just picked the one that has the most armor. So this one's 1150, 1150, right? These extra damage mitigations are all great too, but honestly, just pick the best one you got is my opinion there for now. Some of the more end game centric ones have some unique perks that I think are worth chasing. So I've got some other videos out on those. But so this one here recovers 1% hull health per second when hull health is less than 20%. I think I bought this from the bartender by the distillery. So I think you need pieces of 8 or some other special currency, right? Increases charge rate from the ablaze effect, so that means ships will get lit on fire quicker. And you're going to see where this is going. Increases elemental damage multiplier of bombard by 19%, right? So that's our fire bombards, so that's going to make more fire. And then it increases damage to enemy ships with the ablaze effect by 10%. Right, so the ship itself already has a similar perk, and we're just compounding on top of that. And then this restores 1% severe damage per second while out of combat. That is just a quality of life thing, right? So the severe damage is when you get that red damage that you can't heal with a repair kit, right? So if I move away from combat and nobody's attacking me, that slowly starts healing or disappearing, so to speak. And then you can use a repair kit, right? So, but thank you guys so much for watching my video all the way through here today. I am going to be doing more Skull and Bones videos in the future. Just wanted to get this one cranked out for those of you that are flying solo and playing on your own a lot, like myself. I do that quite a bit. So yeah, stay tuned. Make sure to follow the channel. That way you don't miss our next one, right?